Okay, so picture this. It's 2 a.m. You're doom scrolling through Instagram like your life depends on it, watching Becky from high school post her 4th vacation this month, some random influencer doing their 17-step skincare routine in their aesthetically perfect bathroom that probably costs more than your entire education, and your ex looking suspiciously happy with someone who is, let's be honest, offensively attractive. You've got 847 followers, your phone is literally glued to your hand, and your screen time report is giving you weekly anxiety attacks. And yet somehow, you feel like you're on a deserted island screaming into the void. Make it make sense, because here's the absolutely unhinged part. We are the most connected generation in human history. Our grandparents had to write letters and wait 3 weeks for a response, and we're over here getting anxiety if someone doesn't text back in 3 minutes. We can FaceTime someone in Tokyo while sitting on our couch in pajamas that we've worn for you. Let's not talk about how many days. We have group chats for everything. There's a Discord server for every possible interest, and yet loneliness is at an all-time high. The math isn't mathing, and honestly, it's giving dystopian nightmare wrapped in a cute aesthetic filter. So what is actually happening in your brain when you're digitally overstimulated but emotionally starving? Buckle up, because the psychology behind this is both fascinating and deeply depressing, which is very on brand for our generation. First up, let's talk about what I like to call the everyone's life is better than mine and I'm gonna spiral about it phenomenon, or as psychologists boringly call it, social comparison. Your brain literally evolved when humans lived in small groups where you knew like 50 people max, where social drama was face-to-face and you could actually read people's energy. But now you're comparing yourself to hundreds or thousands of people simultaneously. And spoiler alert, they're all posting their highlight reels while you're living your behind-the-scenes blooper footage. Your ancient caveman brain is looking at all these beach bodies and engagement announcements and career flexes, and it's like, why are we the only one failing at life, when in reality everyone else is also a mess? They're just better at hiding it with Valencia filters and inspirational captions. And it gets worse, because when you see someone living their best life, your brain doesn't just go, oh, that's nice for them. No. It activates your prefrontal cortex and starts this whole interrogation session. Why don't I look like that? Why isn't my apartment that cute? Why am I eating ramen for the 3rd time this week while they're at a Michelin star restaurant? Your brain is literally bullying you based on curated content that took 17 takes and probably isn't even real. It's giving self-sabotage. It's giving toxic comparison culture. It's giving I need therapy but I'll just make a joke about it instead. But wait, there's more psychological damage to unpack. Let's discuss parasocial relationships, which is just a fancy way of saying you're emotionally invested in people who literally don't know you exist. You watch someone's stories religiously, you know their Starbucks order, you've memorized their pet's name, you feel like you're besties, but you're not. You're a username in their analytics, and that one-sided intimacy, that's actually making your loneliness worse, because your brain thinks it's being social, when really you're just consuming content like it's your full-time job. It's the psychological equivalent of thinking you're eating a meal when you're actually just looking at pictures of food. Your brain knows it's being catfished by the concept of connection. And then we have the validation addiction, which honestly deserves its own documentary. Every time you post something, you're literally sitting there refreshing, watching those likes roll in like your self-worth depends on it. Which, let's be real, it kind of does in that moment. And here's the thing, getting likes literally activates the same part of your brain as eating your favorite food or winning money. It's a dopamine hit, it's a drug, and you're hooked. But here's the absolutely tragic part. That validation is more shallow than a kiddie pool. 1,000 likes on your selfie doesn't mean anyone's actually going to show up when you're having a breakdown at 3 a.m. It doesn't mean someone's going to help you move or listen to you rant about your situation for the 47th time. Your brain knows the difference between OMG you look amazing queen in the comments and actual deep human connection, and when you're drowning in one but dehydrated from the other, you end up feeling more empty than if you just posted nothing at all. Can we also talk about the illusion of companionship? Because this one is sneaky. You're texting like 7 different people throughout the day. You're replying to stories. You're sending memes. You're active in 3 group chats that are mostly just people sending TikToks anyway. It feels like you're being social, like you're out here maintaining friendships and connections. But researchers have literally found that these short, fragmented interactions are basically junk food for your social needs. You're technically eating, but you're nutritionally starving. Your brain needs the full meal. It needs to see someone's face change in real time. It needs to hear the tone shift in someone's voice. It needs to be physically present with another human being who isn't a glowing rectangle. But instead, we're all out here surviving on the social equivalent of gas station snacks and wondering why we feel so empty. And here's the plot twist that nobody sees coming. The people who look the most connected on social media are often the loneliest ones. That person with 50K followers posting constantly, living what looks like a movie, they might be the most isolated person you know, because they've built this entire performance, this carefully edited version of themselves that gets engagement and attention, but deep down they know nobody's actually seeing the real them. They're lonely in a crowded room, except the room is their phone and the crowd is just a bunch of strangers double tapping without thinking. It's giving "I'm fine" energy, while internally screaming. Also, can we acknowledge how social media has completely warped our sense of time? You can see what your middle school friend is doing right now. You're comparing your current self to someone else's current self, even though you haven't talked in 8 years. And the algorithm keeps showing you memories from 3 years ago when you had different hair and different problems. Your brain is constantly being yanked between past, present, and everyone else's present, and it's exhausting. You can never just be in your own life because you're always being reminded of everyone else's life or your own past life. It's giving time travel, but make it psychological torture. But honestly, the most devastating thing is this: social media has completely changed what we expect from connection. We've gotten so used to curated, editable, deletable communication. You can spend 10 minutes crafting the perfect text response. You can unsend things. You can control exactly what people see. Real human connection isn't like that. It's messy, it's immediate, it's vulnerable in a way that makes you want to crawl into a hole. You can't edit your face in real time. You can't delete an awkward silence. And for those of us who basically grew up online, that rawness feels absolutely terrifying. So we retreat back into our phones where connection feels safer because it's controlled, but the loneliness just gets worse because our brain is not stupid. It knows controlled connection is just connection cosplay. So what do we actually do about this? How do we exist in a world where the thing that's supposed to connect us is actually the thing making us feel most alone? First, let's just acknowledge that if you feel lonely while being connected, you're not broken. You're not failing at life. You're not bad at relationships. You're literally just a human being with completely normal needs for real intimacy, trying to satisfy those needs with an app that was designed by tech bros to maximize engagement metrics, not your mental health. Your loneliness is your brain's way of saying, "Hey bestie, something's off here," not you're fundamentally unlovable. Big difference. The most powerful thing you can probably do is start treating social media like what it actually is, a side dish, not the main course. It's a way to keep loose threads with people between actual real interactions, but it cannot be the whole relationship. If you're feeling lonely, the answer is probably not to post more or scroll more or engage more. The answer is probably to close the app, which I know feels impossible, and reach out to someone for an actual conversation, like a phone call. Remember those. Or even better, sit in the same physical space as another human being, even if it feels weird at first, even if you don't know what to say, even if there are awkward silences. Because your brain will always know the difference between a heart react and an actual hug, between a Lamau reply and a real conversation, between being perceived through a screen and being truly seen by someone who's actually looking at you with their actual eyeballs. You're not alone in feeling alone, which is ironic but also kind of comforting. And maybe just knowing that this isn't a you problem, it's a we problem. It's a we're all trying to be human in an increasingly digital world problem. Maybe that's the first step. The first step toward finding real connection that actually fills the void, instead of just distracting you from it with pretty pictures and dopamine hits. Anyway, if this resonated, drop a comment and tell me I'm not the only one feeling like a lonely little internet gremlin. And maybe, just maybe, go text someone you actually care about and make plans to see them in person. Revolutionary concept, I know.